don't settle, then Jamel shout. We were only 7 together every night. Pull up to we are not 7 with you.
Tomorrow.
Oh, what a song. This has got to be one of their most iconic songs, surely.
I love this song. It was when I first became an army, DNA was my first song, and then Tomorrow was the next song that I just fixated on and couldn't stop listening to.
I cried when I first heard this song, as I'm sure
really?
many people did. Yeah, because it's so fucking relatable. Like, honestly, this song to somebody in their 20s is like a breath of fresh air. It's something that it's like, thank you for acknowledging how difficult this is. And you can't really put it into words because it's just that feeling that you have. And the fact that they are able to both acknowledge the problem and say there's other people that can relate to this situation as well. You're not alone, but also to keep having hope and not to give up and to try despite everything. I just love that so much. It's just such a beautiful way of capturing that terror that a lot of people feel in their 20s, especially their early 20s.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and I also think that the emotion in the song that is conveyed through the melody, and it's like this kind of a feeling of hopefulness and yearning, but frustration and fear, but it's all rolled up into one, and both the negative and the positive sides of it feed each other. And I just love the melody in the song and the chorus, and it always makes me feel that feeling like.
Oh yeah. Don't they do that so well in their music where they show both sides of it? They never just get fixated upon the negatives, but they never pretend everything's all sunshine and rainbows. They expose the problems, but they also encourage you and give you hope. And
Yes.
I just love that. I love that so much.
It's the friend who goes, yeah, I see what you're going through. I'm going through it too. Let's remember that there's good and bad sides to this, and let's keep striving towards tomorrow together.
Exactly. Tomorrow by together.
I know. So that's what I thought of as I said.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, wrong group.
Yeah, right. So something I wanted to talk about, so I watched the album behind for this of Sugar talking about the album, and so this is a song produced by Sugar with the help of Slow Rabbit, but he revealed that this was actually something that he made, I think the beat for when he was still a trainee. So that's really cool, yeah. And he said that this means a lot to him, this song, and I mean, I can understand why.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy. The use of the instrumentals of this is really cool. It's very experimental. It's very Jungi. He still uses a lot of these techniques I picked up on.
Like which ones?
So you've got the sampled vocals that is made into a beat. You know that da, 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 da. I'm pretty sure that's a sampled vocal.
Yeah.
And he uses that a lot. And then also the experimentation of voice mixing. So the voice that's used in Tay's bit, where it's these distorted vocals, and then it goes from low to high to and then you have all these types of things.
Oh,
and
you're so right. Okay.
And then the other thing is that bit in Hobie's verse when it all kind of comes down and it's it takes out all of the big stuff, and then he adds in an electric guitar. Again,
I love that
so
part.
Jungi. Yeah, so do I. That's the best. But he's got so many songs that follow this kind of structure, and I think that's amazing to see that this song that he worked on when he was a trainee, he has followed through his own style and his own process all the way to today. I think that's awesome.
That's really cool. You're so right. I love it. It definitely sounds like, I don't know. I always feel like their music is a reflection of, can I say it? It's a reflection of their soul.
Yeah.
And when you listen to the final song, when you listen to the song Tomorrow, I hear in it both an echo of my own experiences when, as a 20-year-old, my early 20s. And I also see it as a reflection of their experiences as trainees, as early rookies.
Yep.
Because this is what, 2014?
Yeah.
This album came out. Like, this is their experiences of trying so hard to make it, to,
Yeah.
you know, create a lasting career, to just, like, literally to make it. Like, you know, you don't know what your dream is, but you're struggling to get towards somewhere greater than you are now.
Yeah, and it's terrifying. And another fun fact is that Yoongi wrote the lyrics to this when he was in the hospital after his appendix surgery.
Oh, really?
As well. Yeah. So again, I think that's really interesting to consider, and the fact that he's able to remain so hopeful and like, you know, I just love that. And I don't know, I always find with Yoongi's music when he produces is that he very much reflects the lyrics and the meaning of the song with the beat that he's producing. So like, for example, I wasn't too keen on the distorted vocals at first. Like I wasn't sure about it. I didn't really like it that much. I loved Tae's voice and I felt like it wasn't like showed in the way it was supposed to. But then when I started to analyze the song, like after maybe like a couple times listening to it, I was like, but why is this used? Like, it seems like it's used for a reason. And I do think so. I think that it really reflects like instability of like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Like not being able to,
and the murkiness of,
yeah,
because it's not like the feelings reflected in the song are also a lot about uncertainty and not being clear of what you're doing, where you're supposed to be going, how you're feeling. And that's what I hear when I hear Tae's voice distorted. It's just like, yeah. And I like, it's the whole of like, I'm struggling. I'm trying to get somewhere. I don't know if I'm there.
Yeah.
And I'm stuck inside myself, feeling all of this.
Exactly. And I think that's what I really like about this song and Yoongi's production skills in general, is that he really experiments with the way that he creates music based on emotion, based on meaning. And like you can see that throughout, like how he tends to add like this like powerful mode. No, I don't know how to describe the guitar breaks that he uses, but they're always so like, they pull emotion out of you, and it's usually towards the like climax of the song. And like, I just think he's amazing at producing, and as you can see, all back then.
Yes. Just I think he's really good at pulling emotion out of you as you listen to the song. And as someone who holds that in very high esteem, I really appreciate the journey his music takes me on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, let's scroll back up, because so we're using Dulcet Bangtan's translations as always, because they are amazing.
Indeed.
This was actually very interesting. I listened to the song before I knew all of this, and in this part of the song he's saying like every day is like a Control-C, Control-V, it just repeats itself. And I also think it's a very millennial reference. Like
yes. Yeah, because you wouldn't really hear that anymore from like the Gen Zers and stuff, would you?
Yeah. But I understood what he meant even without knowing it. But then knowing that he's talking about how his mood is like a control beat. And Dulcet's comment here talks about how there was a diss battle called Control Diss Battle in the Korean hip hop scene, and where everybody involved in the battle used the beat from a song called Control. Everyone was using the same thing and trying to.
Yeah, honestly, I found this hard to interpret, like her note here when I read it. Like, I'm still a bit unsure on what it means exactly.
So, let's see. If I were to interpret this.
So, what is this word? Recriminate. I've never heard that before.
It's a word. Hold on. Let's Google this. Okay, it's like when you're gonna attack someone, make counter accusations. So maybe if somebody's like doing something wrong and or like some scandal happens and you're angry and you're like, I downloaded the Control beat, I'm about to make a rap to like
so I'm about to create a diss track towards you type of thing.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So it says here at the end, I keep feeling down, like the Control beat gets down. So like it's very popular to use this beat. So like
maybe what they're saying is like this is so overused and I've gotten angry so many times that I'm just tired of it.
That makes way more sense than my interpretation.
Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
That does fit right in line with like what else he's saying here, that it's like, I'm so tired of getting angry and trying to be enthusiastic and passionate about one more thing. Every day is the same.
yeah.
It's just Control C, Control V. I keep doing it and it's not
No,
going
I love
anywhere.
that. Yeah, I completely agree. I just want to go up a little bit as well to because this is probably one of my favorite lines of this whole song. An ambiguous life of mine, a jobless 20-something is afraid of tomorrow. And if that ain't the case of like the majority of people in their 20s, like
Yeah.
it never used to be back in the day, because like being in your 20s didn't really seem like, it was very much, you've got the midlife crisis. The midlife crisis was kind of when people most had that like dread or like uncertainty. But kind of as time went on, like this generation, millennials especially, it kind of like developed like the quarter life crisis of when you reach your 20s and like there's no opportunities for you and there's no way of you to be able to like
Yeah, and plus you have
money
debt.
and-
You have debt.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah, you've taken on student debt,
Mhm.
trying to get through college, trying to get ahead. And then in the process
You
of
can't buy a house or rent a house properly because
yeah.
there's not many options.
or
and-
get a car.
Yep.
And then the job market isn't what it used to be. So you're like, holy shit, can I get a job in what I actually want to do? And also, do I really want to do that? Am I sure?
Yep.
I'm trying to launch
I'm
myself
still
on
so
a career.
young.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to choose a path for yourself almost. And like, God, I can relate to this. It's bloody terrifying. Like I'm 24 and that's exactly how I feel. Like you don't know what's coming. You don't really have stability. You don't really have the capacity of just like seeing what happens, seeing how it goes, because you have these debts. You have to make something of yourself. And so like that line of like jobless 20-something being afraid of tomorrow, it's like there are so many people, so many young people that can't find a job, that don't know how they're going to be able to afford the bills or how they're going to be able to follow their dreams or create something for themselves going forward in the future. And yeah, just that whole idea is just so relatable, I feel like, to so many people.
And I find it so interesting that it's relatable across cultures, across
Right?
countries. It's a global feeling because they're talking about their experience as Koreans. You're talking about your experience as someone in the UK. I'm talking about
in
my
Europe.
experience as someone in America.
Exactly. And I mean, I would argue that this is linked to late capitalism because that is in all of our governments. But I mean, I think that it is interesting to see the comparisons. And I think, again, this is why BTS spread to such a global stage, because these issues have been increasing all around the world in so many countries, and so many people can relate to this.
Yep, agree completely. So we talked about how this is Tae's distorted voice and how it just makes so much sense. You have someone who's so frustrated with their life and then just being like, I have nowhere to scream. I have nothing.
Yeah, and you know what? I love the use of language here because this is something that is very hard to admit. If you were talking about it with somebody, you would say like, oh, I'm really frustrated and like, I hope it's better. I hope it gets better. But like here, like they talk about like, even if I scream out of frustration, I can only beg that tomorrow will be different. Like the desperation and like the lack of a filter here, it's like bearing your soul, it's put bluntly. And I think that's very important because in a culture that doesn't really encourage you to like be that open and honest, especially for men, it's just really refreshing to see them talk about it in such a way that then encourages other people to like accept and not repress their own like complete dread over this matter.
Yep.
Because that is how we're told, like, just, oh, you know, push it down, don't really think about it. But do you know what, like, it's terrifying, it's so scary, and sometimes you do want to scream and sometimes you do want to beg. That's the reality of the situation, and it's nice to be able to express that and to hear people express that.
And to express it in a song that you can listen to over and over again for comfort, to know that there's other people in the world who feel the exact same way. I love the
So-
chorus.
So do I.
Just like full stop. I love the chorus.
Now, I actually really wanted to talk to you about because I love the chorus too. My favorite line is "Even if you crash, oh better." That reminds me of Yoongi's "Nevermind" as well. Like, you know, like,
I literally, was thinking the same
Right.
thing. That if you think you're going to crash, accelerate harder,
Yeah.
you idiot.
yeah, like it's like even if it ends up in something that is a complete nightmare, like that's even better than just doing nothing. Like just be happy with the failures and accept the failures and like don't be scared of them, don't be afraid of them. But what I really wanted to talk to you about, how do you interpret this line, like breaker? Because that doesn't make grammatic sense in English. Like follow your
Mhm.
dream like breaker.
I interpret it so when I think of like when I read that, I see it as like breaking the waves. So like
Mhm.
breaking through the norm, what everyone's doing, and go do something else. So don't
Mhm.
stay. So follow your dream, even if you have to break from the norm, break through the ocean of comfort. You know, go beyond where it's harder and you're alone.
Mhm.
That's what I think.
No, I like that interpretation. I think I've always seen it as like, even if you have to break yourself, don't stop trying. Keep trying no matter whether you break yourself or not. And I think this would be potentially a damaging thing to say in any other cultural or contextual background. But I think why I really like this is because in like today's society for young people, like that is their only option. Like if you want to succeed, a lot of the time you have to work 10 times harder than is normal. You have to compete with everybody else. You have to break down your body. And so I feel like
Yep, I relate to that on a personal
Right?
level.
So I feel like this is almost like follow your dream, even if you feel broken, even if you feel like it's destroying you, just don't give up. It's hard, but it will hopefully amount to something better tomorrow. Like don't stop trying because it's almost like this world is trying to break you, but don't let it. I feel
Mhm.
like.
Yeah, I feel like it could be both of our
Yeah.
interpretations. And the
Mhm.
other reason I bring up my interpretation as like you need to break from the norm and pursue something even if it's hard, is that when they say even if you crash, oh better, I see that as even if you try to follow your dream, this idea that's been eating away at you all your life as something you want to do, and you fail at it, good. Then you know what is the outcome of pursuing that. You never have to wonder what if,
Mhm.
because you've seen that track and now you can eliminate it as, okay, I shouldn't do this. I have to change it somehow, alter it, or pursue something else because this is not, I've seen the end of this. And it helps you basically not be stationary and wonder if, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I do something else? If you try something and you fail, great. Now you know what that looks like. Now go try something else. Go pursue some other dream.
Yeah, no, I love that.
들기도 새벽이 가장 어두우니까 너는 나를 넌 지금의 날 절대로 잊지 마 지금 네가 어디서 있든 잠시 쉬어가고 싶은 포기하지 마 알잖아 넌 놓치지 마 tomorrow
I love this.
What a line.
This is just brilliant. Where's my color? We're gonna make this
And this was all written by Yoongi,
brilliant.
these lyrics here.
Brilliant.
And it's very Yoongi again. And I love how he reuses these lyrics in his other songs later on, like even till now. Like that phrase of the dawn right before the sun rises the darkest. I think it's in Sugar's Interlude. I'm pretty sure it's in the D2 mixtape as well.
Mhm.
And isn't that cool when you see the next line of it, you in the future never forget yourself of now? Like, because that's exactly what he's done. Like, he has never forgotten his words and his lyrics from this stage in his life, and he has reused them and kept them with him even up until now. It's so
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah, and I also see it as like, hey, don't forget how scary it was when you didn't know what you were
Mhm.
doing, because when it gets better in the future, and it will, I want you to remember what you felt now so that in the future when you feel that way again, you also know that it will get better then.
Exactly. I love that bit as well of wherever you're standing right now, you're just taking a short break.
Yes.
Because again, that's something I get fixated on so much of like, I'm not progressing. Like, it feels like I'm not getting anywhere. It feels like I'm making no like steps forward. And I wonder if like I'm losing my time and not making the most of it. And like that idea of like, if you reach stages in your life where you don't feel like you can see anything happening, like be kinder to yourself. Just think of this as a break. Your life is not over. It's not the end. It's just a time when you're struggling and when you're having difficulties moving forward. But that doesn't mean that it's like the end of the line. It's just a break from the path of life. And I love that.
Yes, agree completely. And I think this is
Namjoon.
Namjoon's. I really like this line.
우리가 그토록 기다린 내일도 원했어 눈이 떠본 너의 재림이 돼 내일은 오늘이 되고 오늘은 어제가 되고 내일은 어제가 되어 내 두 위에서
This kind of like visualization of like, to me it feels like a conveyor belt in like a factory. Like tomorrow becomes today, today becomes yesterday, and tomorrow becomes yesterday. Like it keeps going and it doesn't end. Everything just keeps slipping by me, and then what I thought was tomorrow is now behind me and I still haven't moved.
Yeah, I mean, I have always really liked this lesson. I feel like it's taking a different approach to what Yoongi's was saying. And I think that Namjoon's concept of time has really fascinated me, and he's talked about it a lot from right at the beginning. And so I feel like if Yoongi's verse was very much about like the present, how difficult it is, and how like it's just the same all the time and we feel like we're getting lost within that time, it feels like Namjoon is kind of giving you like a slap in the face to like shock your system of being like, but don't stay there. Don't get fixated in this moment, because the thing is, you're so scared of tomorrow, but eventually tomorrow is in the past. And if you keep living that way, then your whole life just goes and just flies by you and you're not present in it. And he talks about this all the time. He even has this in Pied Piper, for example. Like he talks about how, yeah, he has a line in Pied Piper that's so he's basically talking about, yeah, you guys are obsessed with us, but make sure that you look after yourselves too, because if you don't look closely, it won't be a couple of hours, it will be a year or 2 years of your life that pass by you.
Yeah.
Right? And he has a log where he talks about this as well, and he's like saying, like, it's great to strive towards happiness and to think you're working right now to be happy in the future. But wouldn't it be better if we could be happy while we're achieving something and live in that moment? And I feel like this is what his verse is saying here is like, I know how hard it is. It's so hard. And you're always thinking about tomorrow. But don't forget that eventually tomorrow is yesterday and then it doesn't mean anything anymore. It's not anything you can be afraid of. All time is going to pass by, is going to become something else. It's going to transform. So if you get too fixated on it and too fixated on things that you can't control in time, then that time just takes over you and takes control of you. And this is a very Buddhist way of thinking, actually. There's a lot of Buddhist philosophy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Time is actually something which you can't control, and you kind of just have to accept and go along for the ride and like not think about it in terms of one thing existing and one thing moving forward and one thing getting behind you, but just think of something as like a ever moving process that you can just be present in. So yeah, I really like that different take on this.
Yeah, me too. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I love that. And then we have Tae's distorted vocals again. And then they have another chorus. And then the favorite lyrics that we like so much.
So this is Hobie here, and this is where it all gets very soft. Which again, I think reflects the mood of the song, because Hobie's verse is very much talking about like, I want to comfort you. I want to make sure that you are heard and you are seen, and I'm giving you hope, you know? And so I feel like there's a very significant structure to this song. You've got Yoongi, he's like, this is fucking tough and it sucks and it's so difficult and every day feels the same. And then you've got Namjoon kind of giving some wisdom and kind of giving some advice and making you see things a bit differently. And then at the end, you've got Hobie that's like, but don't stop, like keep walking, and like you'll see something better at the end. There will be a light at the end and it's okay. And I love that. I love that structure of this song. And isn't Hobie the perfect one to deliver this kind of end of the song too?
Yeah, he is. Question for you. How do you interpret this line?
한번 쉬어가는 잠시 동안에 언제 보내면 네 자신을 제 세계 모두 보란 듯이.
Yeah, I was thinking about this when I was looking into it, and I think it might have something to do with, and I may be so off, but you know, like in Korean culture and in their language, they use chego. My pronunciation is not great yet, but like, you know, they always lift their thumb up when they say that, and it means the best, like, oh, the best, and they like will raise their thumb when they say that. So I wonder if it has
Oh.
something to do with that, and say like, and because it says like raise your thumb and play yourself as if you're showing yourself to everyone, and it's like this idea of like just like put your thumb up, say I'm the best, and show yourself to the world, show everyone what you have to offer. Like I wonder if that's kind of what it
Oh,
means.
maybe. Even tell yourself that you're the best. Don't just wait for
Yeah.
other people to do it.
Yeah, maybe. But that's kind of how I thought about it.
Interesting.
Because if you think about their song as well, you know, the one that's like, because they have it in their choreography as well. They have their thumb up. 너는 내게 최고. And it means you're the best. And they have their thumb up in the performance.
I know what you're talking about.
Yes, you're my only girl.
Miss Right?
너는 내게
Yeah, my Miss Right. Miss Right. I mean, I feel like that's it.
It is Miss Right. It is Miss Right. Yeah, in that choreography, they say like "you're the best, Chego," and they hold up their thumb in the choreo. And it's like I've seen it in like Korean TV shows or in BTS's interviews and things. So yeah, I thought maybe that was the meaning there.
Aw, that's actually really cute. Okay, and then you get the chorus one more time, and that's the end of this wonderful song that I will now proceed to loop on infinite.
Yeah, me too.
너무 멀어지지 마 tomorrow.